and welcome to Katie's Insight, where I give my insight on all kinds of things. And as you guys know, right now we are super hyper-focused on stimulus and politics, because as sad as it is and continues to be, stimulus and politics, as my smart people know, go hand in hand. I wish it didn't. It's frustrating that it did, but this is the world that we're living in. Welcome to 2020, but more importantly, welcome to how America has always been run, which is super frustrating. Hi, y'all. First, let's point out, this is another new sweater day. It's kind of the same thing. Remember, it's all frayed here, but it's blue. It's like blue-green. And I love, as I get older, I love light blues, and I love like turquoises and the color mint. I don't know why. Also, I can already hear the comments, guys. I've done my best with my hair. For some reason, I have little hair sticking up over here, and I just am not a real functioning female to know what to do with them. So I let them be. My understanding is I think I've had some hair damage as a result of the illness that I've gone through, since I'm on, as you guys know, I'm on a super strict, it's not just ketogenic diet, even though it is, it's an all carnivore, low histamine diet. So that can mess with your hair, as well as like large. And if you guys seen, and I'll see the comments, they'll be like, oh my God, you lose weight again? So all of a sudden I'll lose 5 or 10 pounds out of nowhere, like after a month or two. But so the way my body works. And so I think my hair has some issues as a result. Y'all, I've been doing these videos so long, you wouldn't think I would be so forgetful in this, but I have to just go ahead and put it out there. Guys, we're doing $100 gift card giveaways. I have an update on the gift card giveaways at the end of the video, so make sure and watch that if you really like these gift cards and want to know what's going on. So guys, this is all you have to do to be entered to win a gift card. Like every video you see, subscribe, hit notifications, comment, share the content, boom, you're eligible, you're entered, that's all you have to do. And guys, the more times you share and the more comments you leave, the more chances you have to win. If you leave 100 comments, that gives you 100 more chances to win. Yay, good luck, and it helps me with the channel, so I'm so grateful. Also, guys, in the first hour, I've been trying to respond to every single comment, at least in the first hour. So if you respond quickly in the first hour, you're probably gonna get a comment from me and a little hey girl, hey, or a hi boy, hi, and some hearts. Also, guys, if you ever see it, you see that thing where it's like the back sign, right? And then the 3, that's my old school version of a heart, because I'm on my computer when I do this, and my computer doesn't have emojis. So just so you know, if you see that, or you see the colon, big D, that's a smiley. This is just like, those are the emojis before they were emojis, I guess, or were those just the original, the OG emojis? Also, guys, add me on Facebook, Katie's Insight, like the page, join the group, Katie's Corner. Will be changed to Katie's Insight soon. We're helping with all types of stimulus issues, and we can't wait to see you there. But we're just gonna keep at it, and we're gonna keep going, and let's just go ahead and get into what's really important and why you're here. Stimulus. Last side note, I did take some days off, guys, as I told you guys, and I appreciate all the love in the comments. I'm going to do that for quite some, like every so often I'll take days off because I'm just trying to get my health back on track. Once that gets back on track, but I have to take the proper time to make sure that happens, then I can make sure and do really good, what I hope is good, awesome content every single day like I used to. I've just got to get everything back on track, and everything is almost done. And another quick note, guys, I have a video coming out later for those of you that have followed my story within AA Worldwide. I have 2 bombshells. First of all, they are in the process of trying to get my channel deleted. And then the last one that I want you guys to understand, I confronted them live on air on a YouTube live stream. So wait for all of that this week. We're gonna have some fun. I have stimulus checks to talk about. I have lots of stuff to talk about this week. So we're ready, let's go. So let's go ahead and get into it. Where are we at? Well, it's still the big crap show. It always has been. Now, as you guys know, there is still debate between who's won the election. Now, the media and every other place seems to be calling it for Biden. However, Trump is contesting this. Now, I've done a few videos on this, and I'll probably put out a few more. I'm gonna lessen a little bit of what I'm saying, only because, like, I gotta tell you guys, I love y'all. By the way, my audience, you guys are fantastic. You're smart people. It gets really frustrating though, because no matter what I say and no matter how much I try to talk to people about it, people automatically assume, because I'm pointing out certain things factually that favor Trump, that I must be favoring Trump, and I don't. I just want somebody in there who's gonna help the American people. That's all I want. And I want somebody who's going to help dismantle the negative systems we have and build up positive ones. I don't care who you are. That's literally, like, I don't care. I just want to make sure people get help and we move forward in the right direction as a country. Who that is and where that falls, in a sense, it's none of my business, if that makes sense. I mean, maybe it is, but like, I'm not going to take a side. As I've said, I don't like any of these people. So I am still going to cover the situation, because even though it seems like the media is trying to brush it under the rug and move on, there's still a lot going on. And in fact, I really want to break down what's going on with the litigation, because there are, law firms dropping out, or they're dropping certain parts of the lawsuit. And the way the media is spinning it is that, oh, it's such a bad thing for Trump. Now, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not involved with what's going on, so I can't really say, and I'm going to have a video where I talk more about it, but I can say, going through the legal process, you can have 10,000, you guys know, I just went through this with my former company. You can have 10,000 pieces of evidence that are all in your favor, but it's not always about the evidence. It's about how you present it during what arguments. So I don't necessarily see it as a negative that there are certain aspects that maybe they're tailoring down with Trump's lawsuits. I don't know. And again, I'm not a lawyer. I can't really say. I can only say from what I've been through when I was like, I have 10,000 pieces of evidence against my former company of this, this, and this. But it wasn't about shoving all the evidence at once. It was about packaging it and presenting things the right way when they're supposed to be done, not doing too much, not doing too less. So there's a balance there with the legal system when you're dealing with something with this magnitude. Like I said, because I've been through federal court. Obviously, what I went through is nothing like what Trump is trying to do. But right now, things are still up in the air, even though the narrative seems to be that Trump is completely lost and let's just move on. As well, many states, many judges seem to be overruling, and they seem to basically be squashing a lot of what Trump is trying to do or wants to do per what they're saying. However, there's still a lot of very interesting information. We'll talk about Dominion here. Again, I'm going to have some videos come out later this week. And these videos aren't because I'm pushing one agenda or the other. I always, every time I do these videos, it's, you're mad because your boy lost. I'm like, he's not my boy. None of these people, I feel like, are my people. I'm waiting for the aliens to land. I'm sorry, y'all. It is winter. No, it's fall, almost into winter. Everything is dry. Everything. So I want to go ahead and get into stimulus, so I just wanted to go ahead and kind of give you guys an update on where things are at with the election, because I know I've been talking a lot about that. And I'll do a couple videos updating you guys on what I'm seeing and where it's possibly going. I still think there is a possibility, like I've said, and I've said this from the beginning, Trump could come back and could steal this thing. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I don't know that, but I'm saying I think that Trump is such a wild card, and you can never really predict what he's going to do. It wouldn't surprise me if he comes out swinging with something, or at least gives a good fight, especially because the media is just really trying to sweep this under the rug at this point. They really have just tried to, okay, moving on, which again, when you see the media start to pivot like that on really big things, I smell BS afoot. This is just me knowing the media and kind of knowing how they operate. Stimulus checks, like I said. So, and you saw the title of this video, stimulus is heating up. Now, there's been a lot of back and forth on what's going to happen between now and the end of the year. This is the middle of November. And guys, remember, Joe Biden, if he's the one that ends up being the official winner, which that's what's being reported by mainstream news now, if that happens, he will transition into, he's going to first do a transition, which I guess Trump and team have been not willing to do with him. So that's another issue. They're trying to transition. Trump is basically putting squash on that, saying, we're not going to let you transition. Take that as you will. I'm just reporting what is. But he wouldn't take office until January 20th. In fact, whoever's in there is not going to take office until January 20th. So we kind of expected, and I've said this, we wouldn't hear a ton from President Trump on stimulus right now, because I think all of his efforts are going to be focused on trying to get this election or some of these states overturned and switched over to his favor. Now, in favor of all of that, there have been a couple states when it comes to like the Senate seats that were flipped over from blue to red. So that has happened. So again, remember, it's not that it can't happen. It's just, we don't know what's going on. And unless we're really in all the minutia of what's going on with the legal teams and the lawyers, unfortunately, we don't know the situation. We don't know how this is going to go. So we're just going to have to wait and see. But whoever takes office, this is something they're going to pick up. Now, Biden, obviously, as I've been reporting, he's been putting out plans. He's been saying there are things he wants to do. But the reality is there's really nothing Biden can do aside from talking to people behind the scenes and, having meetings. There's nothing he can do until January 20th, where Trump could do things. And I've been saying this for a while. Trump can do executive orders, which I've been screaming, Trump, where you at, boy? Where you at? Why aren't you doing it? Because he'd been threatening them before. Trump's interesting though, because again, Trump is such a wild card. Sometimes when Trump threatens something, it's because he's trying to put pressure on a deal and then he backs off. So for instance, remember he was like, we must have liability protections or I'm not signing anything. Then he backed off, right? So he kind of goes back and forth, but then sometimes he'll say wild stuff and then it'll happen, like the executive orders. And it happened within like a week of him saying, I'm going to do this if y'all don't step up and help. So we know Trump has the ability to do executive orders. However, we've heard in fact, I was going to say we've heard very little from stimulus. We've heard very little, period, when it comes right now to Trump, where he's at and what he wants to do. And I've been saying his energy is most likely, I think 1,000%, all going to be spent on getting this election overturned, and more power to him. I mean, let's be honest, that would make sense in his situation. I'm not saying he shouldn't fight for things. I'm just saying, and I'm not even saying I agree with the logic of this. I'm saying I can understand it. Does that make sense? I'm just saying I can understand it. However, we did hear from President Trump, and he tweeted that he needs and wants bigger stimulus. So that happened, which is good. We'll get into in a minute. And then we have, of course, the Democrats who are yelling and screaming as they always, well, I can't say always do. They were quiet for a really long time, and I'm glad they are raising their voices, albeit I have a hard time trusting them, more specifically Nance, because she leads them. Oh my gosh. You have Mitch McConnell, who is proudly named the Crypt Keeper. No joke. The Crypt Keeper of the Senate, because he doesn't let any bills pass. They all die with him. And then you have Pelosi that just can't stop lying and acts like she cares, but then does things in the background to prove that she doesn't. It's honestly, it's such a crap situation with all of these people, guys. I get so frustrated. Like, it's not a joke. I get so legitimately frustrated with all of these people. But where we're at is that the Democrats are coming out swinging, saying we need to pass something. So it's like, okay, so you have an election where y'all allow some real shady stuff to happen, and now you're screaming for Trump in his last 2 or 3 months that you need to step up and do something. Well, this is also frustrating because Trump is the only one who stepped up to help when Pelosi and McConnell would do nothing. Pelosi seems to want too much. Mitch McConnell doesn't want anything or hardly anything. To the Democrats' credit, though, at this point, they're wanting too much. The bill's just gonna, this is what people aren't understanding. And Pelosi had said this, and I'll agree with her. I might not like her, but I can agree, and I can give credit where it's due with somebody. And Pelosi was talking about this, and Pelosi said, look, the bill is getting higher partially because months have gone by, and now it's gonna be, we're close to a year. It's almost been a year since the last stimulus bill with only one round of stimulus checks. It's almost been a year, guys. So it makes sense that that bill is going to be getting bigger and bigger and bigger when it comes to stimulus, when it comes to what the people need, because now there's way more need. And I can totally agree with that. So basically the Democrats are trying to put a ton of pressure right now on Mitch McConnell to get things done and to get things passed. And honestly, they should. I completely agree with this sentiment, and I completely agree with their thoughts on this. So I want to go ahead, pull up some information so you can know. And there's a lot of back and forth right now as well, guys. There's a ton of back and forth right now when it comes to the Republicans, when it comes to the Democrats on stimulus. We'll get into Mitch McConnell here in a minute. Okay, guys, I have an article. This is from Fox Business. So it says Schumer, in a press conference recently, said Schumer refers to McConnell as Dr. No on virus relief negotiations. McConnell recently said the virus stimulus would be job one for the Senate. I'm sorry, I don't buy that. Nancy's a liar, but Mitch is also, I've been seeing it more and more with following him. He's also a manipulator. Now, he will come out, he'll directly come out and say some truths that we all kind of look at and go, is that real? And then they are, but I've also been watching him manipulate a little bit as well, which is frustrating. Why are my lips so dry? Maybe it's because I won't shut up and I keep talking, but y'all like it. And this is my job, and hopefully it works out. It works out that way, at least. Okay, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer called on Majority Leader Mitch McConnell to work with Democrats on a virus relief package. He's who's holding it up, Schumer said during a press conference Sunday. The Republican Senate refuses to move forward on any kind of virus bill that has any kind of relief for the American people. And now with even President Trump saying we need a big bill, we are urging McConnell to re-examine his position and work in a bipartisan way with Democrats and support the kind of virus bill that meets the needs of New York and the needs of the American people. Schumer blasted his Republican colleague arguing the Kentucky lawmaker has become the Dr. No of stimulus negotiations. The bottom line is very simple. We need a large, strong virus bill to deal with our problems, Schumer noted. We have heard for months, every time we get close to a deal. Senator McConnell says no. He has become the Dr. No of the virus, just like he's been the Dr. No of all the bills in the Senate over the last several years. In addition, Schumer said McConnell and other Republicans in Congress need to come to terms with President-elect Joe Biden's victory over President Trump and spend less time trying to delegitimize the election results and more time working with colleagues across the aisle on stimulus. Joe Biden campaigned on strong virus relief. He won. That's what the American people want, not just here in New York, but across the country, Schumer said. So we need it. He explained that aid for state and local governments, renters who face evictions from their homes, small businesses, restaurants, and independent venues can be provided through the HEROES Act if Republicans simply compromise and put the Democrats' $2.2 trillion proposal on the Senate floor for a vote. Republicans, Joe Biden won, Donald Trump lost, Schumer added. Now work with us to get a virus bill done because that's the agenda that's on the item that's on the agenda for the American people and what they want badly. It's time to move on. The election's over. It wasn't fraud. McConnell has pushed back against Democrats' proposal with a counteroffer of $500 billion targeted relief, which included more money for schools, liability protections for businesses, a boost in unemployment benefits, an additional round of funding for the PPP, Paycheck Protection Program. However, passage of the measure was blocked by Senate Democrats. Schumer argued Sunday that McConnell's plan virtually has no specifics with no aid for state and localities, food banks, renters, or the Metropolitan Transportation Authority. That's what they call the MTA, if you guys hear this acronym coming up. Following his re-election victory, McConnell said passing a stimulus package would be job one for the Senate and expressed hope for a more cooperative situation with Democrats. We need another rescue package, McConnell said. Hopefully, the partisan passions that has prevented us from doing another rescue package will subside with the election, and I think we need to do it. Now, they're also showcasing the tweet from Trump, and here's what Trump said. Congress must now do a virus relief bill. Needs Democrats' support. Make it big and focused. Get it done. That's what Trump says. His comments come from a tweet from President Trump on Saturday urging Congress to get a deal done that is big and focused. The White House previously proposed a $1.8 trillion package, but the offer was rejected by House Speaker Nancy Pelosi for not doing enough. It also comes amid an uptick in virus cases across the country. The Virus Tracking Project recorded 163,473 new cases Saturday, with more than 69,000 people currently hospitalized. According to the latest update by Johns Hopkins University, the United States has surpassed 11 million virus cases and more than 246,000 related deaths. So that's what this says. Now, let me give you guys a little bit more information, then I want to let you hear directly from Schumer what's happening. So apparently this week, it looks like there is some stimulus that is going to be on the floor and could pass. So what's happening is the HEALS Act, that's from the Republicans, is going to be back debated on the Senate floor, as well as the skinny bill. The skinny bill is the skinnier version of the HEALS Act. Both got laughed out of and rejected in the Senate, and the House has said they refuse to put that in place. But now Democrats are once again starting to push what their original was, the original bill they were trying to do, the HEROES Act. They started creating that, pushing that in May. We are now in November with no relief and what looks like very little hope in sight right now to get anything passed, unfortunately. But this is where we're at right now with these bills. Obviously, as you guys know, the HEROES Act, it's the one that's for a few trillion. It's up there between 2 and 3 trillion. Now, the Democrats did come down 1 trillion on that. I think it was like 3.4 trillion. So they did come down to about 2.2 trillion on that. But that's where they're at right now. But the Republicans don't want any part of that. So that's where we're at, and we're going to start seeing the debates with the stimulus bills on the Senate floor, as well as we saw in this article. Mitch McConnell just said their number one priority now is stimulus. If you remember, right before the election, which this is another piece to reading some of what's happened, reading up to the election with both parties, Trump basically said a couple weeks before the election, let's not focus on stimulus, let's focus on getting Amy Coney Barrett to go through, to be confirmed to the Supreme Court after RBG passed away. Rest in peace to her and her family. So that was their big focus. And a part of me is like, I wonder if the Trump team saw the possibility of what was coming with these elections and said, well, let's do everything we can to stack this in our favor, because they knew they might actually have to go through the judicial process. But Trump had already even been saying 2 or 3 weeks leading up to that, we have lawyers ready after this because we think shadiness is afoot. Whether or not that's true, whether or not that goes through, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. But we have Schumer, who has directly addressed McConnell and Trump in a really scathing press conference that I want to go ahead and go over and kind of go over some of the minutiae of that. So with all that being said, let's listen to what happened with Schumer's press conference and let's see what he has to say, because he shifts some blame and some burden a little bit and it gets kind of interesting. Let's watch.
Continued climb of COVID cases across the country and here in New York. And President Trump was off tweeting instead of leading again. But at least he talked about COVID. He just spelled one thing wrong. Here's what he said. Congress must now do a COVID relief bill. The word he spelled wrong was Congress. It should say McConnell. McConnell should do this, because he's who's holding it all up. The Republican Senate refuses. The Republican Senate refuses to move forward on any kind of COVID bill that has any kind of relief for the American people. And now with even President Trump saying we need a big bill, we are urging McConnell to re-examine his position and work in a bipartisan way with Democrats and support the kind of COVID bill that meets the needs of New York and the needs of the American people. Again, he spelled it wrong. Not Congress, McConnell. Because Democrats in the House and Senate want to move forward, and we want to move forward quickly. Okay. So, the bottom line is very simple. We need a large, strong COVID bill to deal with our problems. We have heard for months, every time we get close to a deal, Senator McConnell says no. He has become the Dr. No of COVID, just like he has been the Dr. No of all the bills in the Senate over the last several years. But with President Trump tweeting, that is a push directed to Senator McConnell to get a bill done. So Senator Gillibrand and I are here today to say to Leader McConnell, get a bill done. Work with us. There are lots of different needs that we have. Mr. Leader McConnell, come to terms with the mandate of this election. Joe Biden campaigned on strong COVID relief. He won. That's what the American people want, not just here in New York, but across the country. He got more votes than any other, and one of the main reasons, there were a bunch, was that he was for strong COVID relief. So, we need it. We need help for our state and local governments, which will have to lay off thousands and thousands of essential workers, whether they be bus drivers or firefighters or healthcare workers or people who just make the state government go. We need help for renters, who more and more of whom will be evicted out of their homes. We need help for small business, and we also need help for our restaurants and our independent venues, all of which are in the HEROES bill, which passed the House. Speaker Pelosi and I, in an effort to compromise, took $1 trillion off that HEROES bill and said we're willing to compromise. But Leader McConnell has not done that. He said he has 20 members of his caucus who want no money, despite the greatest economic crisis since the Depression, the greatest health care crisis since the Spanish pandemic flu. 20 in his caucus want no money. Leader McConnell should say, the heck with you. You're out of touch with America's great needs, particularly as COVID is increasing. We need money for the MTA. We were able to get $4 billion for them in the last bill. I worked very hard on that, but now we need more. So, instead, here, you need the chart again, because Angelo is very good at this. Instead of sending out this tweet, President Trump would have more success phone. Well, that's not my phone. I use my phone. Well, where are you, Mike? Here. Everyone knows my phone. Well, many people do. Instead of doing this tweet, President Trump, pick up this phone and call Leader McConnell and say, let's sit down and get a bill done ASAP. Okay? That is the bottom line, folks. We need all these things. The Republicans are spending all their time saying the election wasn't legitimate. We know it's legitimate. Republicans, Joe Biden won, Donald Trump lost. Now work with us to get a COVID bill done, because that's the agenda that's the item that's on the agenda that the American people want, and want badly. It's time to move on. The election's over. There wasn't fraud. There wasn't anything else. 6 states, swing states, flipped from Trump to Biden. Those 6 states, in each of them, the margin is not even close. No court is going to overturn this election. Joe Biden will be installed as president. So Republicans, get over it. Stop spending all your time spreading lies about the election, and instead roll up your sleeves, sit down with us, do a COVID bill that New York and America needs. No more temper tantrums, no more stomping your feet. Get something done to help New York and get us relief from COVID. Thank you. Senator Gillibrand, my great partner, great advocate for New York in the United States Senate.
Well, thank you, Senator Schumer, for your leadership and your vision and your dedication and determination to actually get package relief for New York and for our whole country. Unfortunately, President Trump and his administration and the Republicans in the Senate have not shown any kind of leadership during this COVID epidemic. More than 10 million people have contracted COVID. New numbers of cases are spiking all across New York, all across the entire country. Here in New York City, we are seeing the highest rates that we've seen since June. Families are struggling. More than 45 million people have filed for unemployment during the pandemic, and countless more aren't sure if they'll be able to pay rent or put food on the table or provide for their children. Yet, Mitch McConnell continues to refuse to act. Chuck is exactly right. President Trump should be tweeting at Mitch, not us, because he's the one who's refused to act. Mitch McConnell has had a bill from Speaker Pelosi since May. He's refused to put it on the floor. He's refused to debate it. He's refused to even talk about it. He also doesn't support the kind of policies that we desperately need. He is so fixated on liability protection, he's unwilling to send the aid that is needed to the cities and states around this country that are without the resources to make sure our frontline workers can keep being on the front line. Meanwhile, President-elect Biden, Democrats in the Senate, and people across America know exactly what relief is needed and has been arguing for that for months. Providing real relief means a coordinated, robust healthcare response. We'd like to have a health force to do the contact tracing, to do the testing, and eventually to bring and give the vaccines to all who want it. It's especially critical for the next few months. It also means giving our states and our local governments the aid they need to keep their operations open. Our public servants have been going above and beyond, meeting all the needs, but they can't do it without resources. As New Yorkers and other cities implement new safety restrictions and outdoor dining becomes less feasible in winter weather, helping our small businesses, restaurants, and theaters will be vital to our survival and the city's survival. Additionally, Congress has to provide more relief directly to families. That includes having a real national paid leave policy, because we are still the only industrialized country in the world that doesn't have access to paid leave. We also need to make sure that we have affordable daycare. Parents are scrambling. Daycare centers have shut. Before the pandemic, there was 1 slot for every 4 children that were needed. Now, there's 1 slot for every 8 children that need it. We also have to make sure the economic assistance programs that we established at the beginning of the pandemic that expired over the summer are renewed. We need to make sure that people get their unemployment insurance, and they need to get the extra supplemental insurance. It's critical that the next relief package has both direct cash payments and enhanced unemployment assistance so people can stay afloat during this crisis. And we have to go beyond that. Every month someone goes without work is another month they struggle to make their rent or put food on the table. Rental assistance is necessary to stave off the wave of evictions that we expect to happen. So we have to make sure partial federal eviction moratorium is scheduled well into the future, not just to the end of the year. That will be necessary to keep our families protected and safe. And last but not least, I have visited food banks all across this state, and I can tell you the lines go around the block, whether you're in the Bronx or whether you're in Brooklyn or whether you're in Queens, Manhattan, or in Staten Island. So it is necessary that we make sure food relief is part of this next package. In upstate New York, the car lines go on for miles. So people are struggling. So we need to expand the SNAP benefits and the pandemic EBT. As we confront the reality of this ever-growing challenge of COVID, we need to get back to the negotiation table, start where the HEROES Act left off, and put our families and not politics first.
Thank you, Senator Gillibrand. Now, one other thing I forgot to mention, I am wearing this FEMA jacket. I got it during Sandy. Sandy was an example of a national crisis, and certainly a New York crisis, where both parties pulled together and got something done. And now many of the areas, almost just about all the areas that were so hard hit by Sandy, are in full recovery. The same thing can happen as long as, again, I like this very much. As long as instead of we need Donald Trump to tell McConnell, not Congress, what is needed. That's what we need. Mitch McConnell to put the bill, as Kirsten Gillibrand said, Mitch McConnell to put the bill on the floor, and I believe it will pass. And it will have not everything we want, but the relief we need. Questions on this subject?
Senator, Senator, have you spoken to the President-elect on this bill?
I have spoken to the President-elect with Speaker Pelosi last week, and he believes we need a strong COVID response as we do.
And what do you urge Senator McConnell to do?
Well, I urge Senator McConnell to, best of all, put the bill that passed the House, the $2.2 trillion compromise bill, on the floor of the Senate. And if that can't pass, because it doesn't have enough Republican votes, I think it will, to sit down and come together with Democrats on a fair compromise that meets the needs of New York and of the American people.
And what if he doesn't agree with you?
Well, we hope he will.
Senator, the majority leader said he wants a specifically targeted bill. So the question is, would Democrats...
The bill is specifically targeted, but he leaves out there's no aid for state and localities. There's no aid for food banks. There's no aid for renters. There's no aid for the MTA. We want it specific. He has virtually no specifics.
Would Democrats look at this as an all-or-nothing proposal, or would you want to do something sooner?
Well, certainly we are willing to sit down and talk with Leader McConnell in terms of a bill that meets the needs, but we came down $1 trillion already, but we're certainly willing to sit down and talk with him. So far, he said it's his bill, which does virtually nothing or nothing at all.
And also,
Go ahead.
Mitch McConnell has not even tried to negotiate in good faith. In fact, he has put poison pills in every bill that he's put forward. We don't believe that you should have blanket liability protection for all employers, no matter how they act. We saw what bad employers do. In meatpacking facilities across this country, they packed workers shoulder to shoulder with no face masks, no personal protective equipment, and COVID spread in those meatpacking facilities like wildfire. Having universal liability protection is a poison pill intended to stop negotiations. So he needs to negotiate in good faith.
The other thing he did in his bill, he put in a provision that if you're a wealthy person sending your child to private school, it wouldn't cost you anything. Because if it costs $100,000 for private school, you'd get a $100,000 tax credit. That was done to get Ted Cruz and a few of the other right-wingers who wanted no money to vote for that bill. But that bill can't pass. Other questions? No, from the press.
With mentioned relief for restaurants. What about other businesses like gyms and fitness centers?
The bill includes all small business relief for PPP for all small businesses. There's a special provision for restaurants, a special provision for independent venues, but there's relief for all small businesses.
Senator, you mentioned that this was a
Well, wait,
mandate.
anyone else before he gets a second,
Senator,
third question? Yes, 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 and then we'll finish.
do you have any fears that Senator McConnell won't be able to work with President-elect Biden to work on
Well, I hope Senator McConnell, who has been Dr. No, he has put in his legislative trash can over 250 bills that the House passed, many of them bipartisan, to make America move in a better direction. We hope he will change.
On that note, do you have any concerns that if the Republicans hold the Senate majority, that the Biden administration would have problems getting cabinet appointees?
Well, I would hope that they would allow President Biden to choose his cabinet. That would be very, very important and the right thing to do. America does not want paralysis and blockade. Last one.
Given what's about to happen in Georgia, how important is it to you that this gets done during lame duck, or is that not really?
The sooner the better, because people are suffering. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Thank you, Senator.
Okay, guys, notes ready, let's talk. First of all, in all of this, what was going on with his phone? Come on, like, not to be mean, okay? Because I know I have a lot of people in my audience that are boomers. Hi, boomers, hi! Much love. You and I are very similar with technology. I don't get it either, even though I'm not a boomer. I think like y'all with technology. But I was just like, oh my gosh, I was cringing and embarrassed for him when he's like, this isn't my phone, where's my phone? And then it's a flip phone. Come on, but then again, I get it. Like, I can only imagine myself at that age and not knowing what to do, and so I would have all the versions of what we consider flip phones or rotary phones. So, not knocking it. You know, I'm 36, I'm hitting 37, so I'm getting up there, so my time will come at some point. But let's go ahead and talk about what he said and kind of go over some of the details. So it looks like this is all about him shifting all the blame on McConnell, even when it comes to Trump, and using Trump as an instrument to shift the blame on McConnell, which honestly, I think all the blame probably goes to McConnell. I'm not even knocking the fact that he's doing that. So he's shifting the blame there, and he's basically encouraging and asking for their revised HEROES Act, their slimmed down version. If you guys remember, President Trump tried to do private negotiations with the Democrats, and that was as far as they got. The Democrats came to 2.2, and I think the Republicans or the White House came up to 1.8 to 1.9. So he's trying to get that slimmed down 2.2 HEROES version, the 2.2 trillion, to be able to reach the Senate floor again. So let's look at all of this. He says the virus is continuing to climb across the country in New York. President Trump was off tweeting instead of helping the situation again. But at least he talks about COVID. Yeah, but at the same time, what's he supposed to do? He's in the middle of trying to fight for this election, and nobody will get on the same page. He tried for months and months and months to do a deal that the Democrats just, they didn't want to do anything. They didn't want to, even their bill, and guys, even it's even still misleading that they're like, we came down, X amount trillion to get this done. Well, not technically, because they've said we're not going to compromise on anything in this bill. What we are going to do is we might shorten the time frame. So a little bit misleading on that. But he says at least in the tweets, he talked about the virus. But remember the tweet I talked to you guys about. He says he spelt one thing wrong there. Congress must now do a new relief bill. That's what Trump says. He spelled Congress wrong. It should say McConnell. McConnell should do this. And I can agree, even though I think they're both at fault. The Democrats want too much and can't get a deal done, but McConnell kind of won't let anything happen. I'm still looking at this going, I think he's from Kentucky, right? Kentucky. Why'd y'all vote him back in? Love and respect to Kentucky. What are y'all doing? I think all of us are looking at you and what are you doing? But we're also looking at California that way because here comes Pelosi. I think a lot of us were really hoping with this election that it was with all the things that have happened with stimulus, it would sway the people to vote in a different direction. But unfortunately, we still have nasty Nance and we have evil curmudgeon, grip keeper Mitch McConnell, and they are both stalling. But it looks like at least I would say the Democrats are more cheerleading for the stimulus, even though they're putting in stuff that they know is going to upset the Republicans don't want and really isn't in favor of the people. But the Republicans don't want to do anything in favor of the people. We're basically screwed. So he says he should have put the blame on McConnell. McConnell should do this. He's who's holding it all up. Republicans in the Senate refuse to move forward on any kind of bill that has any kind of relief for the American people. Seems that way a little bit. Now, with even Trump saying we need a bigger bill, McConnell, we ask you to look at your position and re-examine it. Work in a bipartisan way with Democrats and meet a virus bill that meets the needs of the American people. He spelled it wrong. Not Congress, McConnell. Democrats want to move forward quickly in the House and the Senate. We need a large, strong virus bill to deal with our problems. We've heard for months, every time we get close to a deal, he says no. And I would agree with that. I would agree with every time they're trying to pass something through, he says no, but then the Democrats as well, like, they also, they won't meet with Mitch McConnell either. In fact, they were almost unwilling to meet with very few people other than Mnuchin. So we've had reports that they weren't negotiating either, but McConnell has been absent from my understanding, all of the private talks about trying to do a stimulus deal. So, like, I can't disagree with him about putting this blame on him because, you know, McConnell is a big old turd that is holding all of this up. He really is. But again, the Democrats are being shady too. So he says, so we are here today to say McConnell, get a bill done. Work with us. Lots of different needs that we have for the American people. McConnell, come to terms with the mandate of this election. Biden campaigned on strong virus relief. That's what Americans want. Not just in New York, but across the country. He got more votes than anyone else. All right, well, first of all, Trump has actually been screaming bigger, better stimulus, and he was the only one that actually did any action to help people, while both Democrats and Republicans screwed us over. So, you know, I can't necessarily say that, you know, because he campaigned on that, that's why he won, because Trump campaigned on that just as equally. And then he says he got more votes. Well, still to be determined. It's still TBD. Not saying that because I want or diswant anything. Diswant is not a word. But I'm just saying, like, you know, we still have to wait and see what happens with the Electoral College, where they actually go with this in December, and see what happens with some of these legal issues coming up. So he says, Biden campaigned on strong virus relief. That's what the Americans want. Not just in New York, but across the country. He got more votes than anyone else. A reason he won was for strong virus. We need to help for state and local governments, which will lay off thousands and thousands of workers, healthcare workers, bus drivers, state and government workers, renters who will be evicted out of their homes, small business restaurants, independent venues, all of which are in the HEROES bill, which passed in the House. Pelosi and I tried to take $1 trillion off the bill and compromise. McConnell has not done that. He says he has 20 members of his caucus who want no money despite the greatest economic crisis since the Depression and the greatest healthcare crisis since the Spanish flu. McConnell should say the heck with those 20 who don't want help and get what the American needs, especially with the virus rising. We need money for MTA. That's the transit authority, so transportation. We were able to get about $4 billion in the last bill. I worked hard on that, but we need more. Instead of sending out this tweet, Trump would have more success picking up the phone to call McConnell and say, let's get a bill done ASAP. That's the bottom line. We need all these things. The Republicans spending all of their time saying the election wasn't legitimate. We know it's legitimate. Republicans, Joe Biden won, Trump lost. Work with us to get a bill done. And that's the other thing. We have people, even in the government, going back and forth saying whether or not they actually think Trump won and whether or not they think this is legitimate. So that's a thing as well. Some people are saying I will refuse to look at Biden as my president if that happens because there's so much turmoil with this last election. So he says these are the items, work with us to get a bill done. These are the items the American people need and want badly. Time to move on. Election's over. No fraud, nothing else. Still to be determined. 6 swing states flipped from Trump to Biden. Those 6 states, and of them, the margin isn't even close. Again, we'll have to wait and see. Get over it. Stop spreading lies about the election. Roll up your sleeves and do a virus bill that we need. No more tantrums and stomping your feet. Do something to help New York to get this relief for us. And then we had a woman come on there. I don't really know who she is. I wasn't too interested in looking at that part. She basically just talked about the challenges that are going on within the virus, which we're all aware of. So then he says this, because he takes a few questions I want to go over. He says, one thing I forgot to mention, I'm wearing a FEMA jacket that I got from Sandy. That was Hurricane Sandy a few years ago. I think it was like 2012 or 13. That happened in New York. He says, during that crisis, both parties pulled together to get something done. Now, just about all the areas hardest hit by Sandy are on full recovery. Something can happen as, again, instead of, we can do that again. But instead, Trump, you need to tell McConnell, not Congress, what is needed. That's what is needed. McConnell to put the bill on the floor, and I believe it will pass. It will not have everything we want, but it will have the relief we need. And so then people started asking questions. They said, Senator, have you spoken to the president-elect on this bill? He says, I have spoken to Joe Biden last week with Pelosi, and he agrees on a strong response to the bill. Then they asked, what do you urge McConnell to do? He said, I urge him to put the $2.2 trillion bill, the compromise bill, on the floor of the Senate. And if that cannot pass, shut down with us to do a fair compromise that will help us and the American people. Then somebody asked, what if he doesn't agree? He says, we hope that he will. And then they say, majority leader said he wants a specific targeted bill. So McConnell's saying, well, I want a targeted bill. I want something very specific, not what they're doing. And so then he says, Schumer says the bill is specifically targeted, but he leaves out money for state and local governments, food banks, renters, the transit authority. We wanted specifics, but he doesn't have specifics. They asked, would Democrats look at this as an all-nothing proposal? He says, we want to talk to McConnell about how to meet the needs. We have come down $1 trillion already, but Mitch does not want to do anything. We are willing. So far as it says, so far as he says, it's his bill, which does nothing or nothing at all. Then they say Mitch McConnell hasn't even tried to negotiate in good faith. He put poison pills, like they say that thing, that statement. They put poison pills in every bill that he's put going forward. We don't think you should have blanket liability protections no matter how employers act. And you know what? I can agree with both sides on this. I can agree that they need something so that if people get sick at work, they can't be sued to an extent. But you also have to have some rules and guidelines to be able to follow during this. So I can agree with both sides on this. This is what's so frustrating. Both sides have points where they are correct, and both sides have points where they're incorrect. Why can't we meet in the middle to do what's right for everybody? It's like, okay, you've probably heard this analogy before. A bird, you have the left wing and the right wing. You need both of them to fly. So why can't we do that? Why does it have to be one extreme or the other? So frustrating, y'all. So he says, Mitch McConnell hasn't even tried to negotiate with us in good faith. And this is the woman saying this. He's put poison pills in every bill he's had going forward. We don't think you should have blanket liability protections no matter how employers act. We saw how employers acted in the meat packing facilities. They packed workers shoulder to shoulder with no PPE, and the virus spread like wildfire. This was poison pill intended to stop negotiations. I can agree with that statement. That's something that has to be looked at, and that's something, if they're going to do this liability protection, they have to, in my opinion, they need to do this in a way that's going to be healthy and safe for everybody, businesses and people, not just one or the other. So, okay, and then it says, so then that people are asking, the other thing that he did in this bill, he put a provision in there if you, this is very interesting, and I can agree. He put a provision in the bill, if you are a wealthy person sending your kid to private school, you wouldn't have to pay for that. So if it costs $100,000 for private school, you would get that tax credit. That was done to get Ted Cruz, another right-winger, and people like Ted Cruz to pass that bill. I can actually agree with that. When I saw that in the bill, I was like, why is this an issue? Why isn't the people at the top with the money in private school, that's more of an issue for anybody? So again, everyone is shady. All of them. So it says, then people said, you mentioned restaurants. He says, Schumer says it includes PPP for small business relief, special provisions for restaurants and independent venues. All businesses would get that. And then somebody else asked, do you have any fears that McConnell won't be able to work with Biden? He says, I hope Dr. No will put his legislation in a trash can. He does this all the time. Over 250 bills, many bipartisan, to make America move forward in another direction, he just throws away. We hope he will change. Then somebody says, I would hope they would allow President Biden to choose his cabinet. That would be very important and the right thing to do. Americans do not want the paralysis and blockade. So Schumer had said that about what's going on with Biden. There was a question that was asked, and the question, I couldn't hear it. It was too quiet, but I assume it had to do with what's the transition of power for Biden. And then he says, given what's happened, and then somebody asked, given what's happened in Georgia, when do you think this will happen? He says the sooner the better. So this is where we're at right now. Trump's calling for bigger stimulus. Schumer is basically blaming McConnell, and McConnell, guys, has gone back and forth. He went back and forth on nothing's going to pass until, next year because it's a lame duck, to no, something's going to pass. He flip-flops on this non-stop. And I think it's funny that now he says this is our main priority. So we are going to have a vote, and we are going to have bills that are going to be passed around on the Senate floor this week. I will keep you up to date to see what the Crypt Keeper curmudgeon does with all of that, but that is where we're at right now. And whether or not, as my title said, because we've had a lot of people talking about Trump and possibly passing stimulus, because maybe with what Trump said here, that means he's looking at executive orders, because he's already threatened before stimulus checks with executive orders. I wouldn't hold your breath, because all of his energy, in my opinion, is going to be focused on this election. Logically, it makes sense. And with Mitch McConnell being who he is, there's no telling what's going to get passed when. Okay, guys, if you like this video, please give me a big thumbs up and like the video. Subscribe, hit notifications so you can be notified what's coming up pipeline for you and your stimulus money. Also, comment time. Sound off in the comments. Y'all know me. I want to hear everything. And guys, please share this content with as many people as you know are struggling right now. People who are on unemployment, waiting for unemployment, stimulus checks, SB loan and grant issues, paying your bill issues, and everything in between. I've got tons of tools and tons of resources to help you, and I would love to help you during this difficult time. And guys, the more you like, subscribe, comment, hit notifications, share the content, the more the channel grows, the more things I can do to give back to you guys. So for instance, we're giving away $100 gift cards. I do want to give you guys an update since I had to take so much time off last week. I'm going to roll it over into this week. So I will announce a winner not today, but next Monday, simply because if I'm not working every single day, I can't afford to do it every week. So if I have to take like half the week off, that's how I'm going to do it. I apologize. I'm not trying to mislead anybody. I'm just trying to get everything done within relation to my finances and my health. So thank you for the understanding on that. And guys, add me on Facebook, Katie's Insight, like the page, go to the group, Katie's Corner. It'll be changed to Katie's Insight soon. And guys, we're revamping and redoing the group. We've noticed there's a lot of political arguing going on, but it's in a way that's really mean and attacking, and we don't want that. So I have a new moderator. I have some things set in place, and we're gonna help all of that coming up soon. So that has already started in the process. So I just wanna let you guys know we are really here to try to help you guys with stimulus, with everything coming up, and we need to stop bickering and fighting with one another and start putting to the forefront what's most important. And obviously, I think as we all know, what's most important is getting stimulus and helping one another. Okay, guys, I'm going to end this video here now, but I just want to tell you guys, I'm so glad to be back. I want to tell you guys how much I love y'all, how much I appreciate you all, and I just think the world of you, and you guys are so nice, and I'm fine. Every time I take time off, I am just fine. I have to get my energy back, and I have to get my health back on track so I can continue to make consistent green contact for you guys, or I hope it is, grow this channel and keep doing things to help you guys. Sending you guys so much love. I thank you so much for all the love and support. And until next time, take care. And I have more videos coming out on ways you can get money and money coming to you. So make sure and stay tuned for those. Okay, mwah, big kisses. Bye, guys.